Hey everybody, it's Monday morning update, and I have some scripture for you, a couple announcements. It is December 7th, Pearl Harbor, and so we remember. And I want to read Matthew chapter 2, because I read Matthew 1:18 to 25 yesterday in church, and I sure don't want to read Matthew 1 to 17, because man, there's some crazy names in there. And I would get mad and tell you stuff like that can't be right, and you don't want to hear all that, so you just want a happy pastor. So let's do a good one. We're going to do chapter 2, which is the visit of the wise men to Jesus. So let's read that. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we have observed his star at its rising, and have come to pay him homage." I'm going to stop right there. I want to break this up a little bit because I don't want to try to go all the way back. They saw a star rising, announcing the birth of a king, but notice the star did not lead them all the way to this point. The star did not lead them to Herod's residence. Somewhere they saw the star rising, but they have lost the star, but they know it's associated with this. So they make the natural assumption that any of us would make, that if a king has been born, he's going to be either in Herod's house, or it will be well known in Jerusalem, the capital, that the king has been born. And so they naturally do what any of us would do. They head there first. Now maybe they just have quit looking at the star. They assume they knew, or I tend to believe the star is now gone. It made an appearance, it announced the birth, and then the star was gone. They traveled where they needed to go. They thought they were in the right place. They're not. When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And he called together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, and inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means the least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Okay. So right there, he's now given them a direction to head. But it's interesting, Herod doesn't go with them. He's given them this thing, and they've told him a king has been born, but Herod isn't going. This is a threat to Herod's throne, right? Or a threat to Rome, if you really want to get particular about it. It's really a threat to Rome. And so, but why doesn't Herod want to follow? I don't know. I think maybe he doesn't believe it. Surely a king would have a little more, fanfare when he was born. So Herod calls the wise men, and he learned the exact time. How long ago was this? And that's going to play in later, when he's going to be able to identify children under a certain age need to be killed in Bethlehem or around Bethlehem. He now knows the time frame we're dealing with, so maybe he thinks he can just big swat. He should have done a targeted strike, but he didn't. Okay, anyway. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word so that I may go and pay him homage." I don't think homage is what King Herod had in mind, but that's what he said. When they had heard the king, they set out, and from there ahead of them went the star. The star has reappeared, that they seen at its rising. And it went until it stopped over the place where the child was. So the star now has returned to guide them to this place. So like I say, either they weren't paying attention to the star before, or the star has made a reappearance. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. And on entering the house, notice this is a house. They come into a house. Jesus is not born in a manger in Matthew. Mary and Joseph live in Bethlehem. They have a house in Bethlehem. Joseph has a business in Bethlehem. They're long-term residents of Bethlehem. So they entered the house, and they saw the child with Mary his mother. And they knelt down and they paid him homage. And then opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream, there's Matthew with the dream again, We've seen a couple dreams before. I mean, one from Joseph, and we'll see a couple after, again to Joseph. And upon these dreams, every time God speaks in this, the people who have had the dream respond. Joseph earlier did not put Mary to death or did not divorce her privately or quietly. Here, the wise men heard that they shouldn't go back to Herod, so they take off a different direction. Joseph's about to get a dream that he needs to go to Egypt. Joseph's about to get a dream it's time to come home. Dreams are playing a huge factor in the first 2 chapters of Matthew, and so dreams are important. So that's that passage, and I would invite you to read it again. And what you're looking for in this is what happens when you see something that you set your guide by, like a star, and only to arrive to find that it's no longer there, or you maybe were headed in the wrong direction. How do you refocus? How do you find yourself again? How does that occur? So an example that I often think of, and in ministry, can this happen a lot? Sometimes when a pastor is in a search process, boy, a star sure appears and it sure looks good. And you go and you have to discern, well, this isn't right. And then you have to start the journey again, if you will. Or in the wise men's case, restart the journey. And so it can be a difficult process, but it's not unique to ministry. This happens for a lot of us. Could be the person you marry. Could be your children. Could be your job. Could be a car you buy. Could be, what did Jeff and Rebecca buy? ATV. Could be the ATV you buy. And you feel you're right. You absolutely feel you're right. Except it's not. And that is terribly disjointing. So for the wise men who traveled with such great expectancy to see this child, to be met at a palace and to be totally deadpanned, just what kid, required a real reset for them. And it can require that same reset for us. But God is still with us. And God is still journeying. And God will reveal. In this case, God will reveal that star again, or in our lives, God will reveal the direction that we need to proceed. We need to wait upon the Lord in prayer. That's how it happens. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm done, in other words. We are not having a congregational meeting Sunday, and so no congregational meeting. However, if you're a committee chair, we sure would like your reports. Electronically, they're due today. And so if you get this today, go ahead and write. You won't be late. But we'll take them through the rest of the week because, again, we still want the reports done. And that way we can have them and ready to go when we call the meeting. Okay? The worship committee met yesterday, and they determined that the Christmas Eve service is going to be online this year. Online. Since we are very limited in how many people can come into our sanctuary, it's not fair to have a free-for-all. The first 50 get in and everybody else has to go to another room with a TV where you might as well have stayed home and watched it on your TV in a recliner as opposed to sitting in a chair in an office somewhere in the back of the church. So Christmas Eve is going to be online. We're going to try to provide, we're not going to try to provide, we are going to provide really good music and hopefully a good message, better than today. How about that? And today wasn't bad. I actually kind of like that message. Keep following the star. And so we're going to try to do that and see if we can get that done. There's not a lot going on right now. We know the numbers are pretty high, but I want to take a moment and share something with you because I feel maybe I've been hammering you about staying home. I've been hammering on you. And I feel maybe I've hit the nail too many times. If you feel led to come to church, the doors are open and you can come. We're not turning you away. all we're saying is if you want to stay home and it's okay. Right now in this time, it's okay to stay home. It's a good, safe option. But if you really feel called or led to come to church and experience that live, we are doing that, and you are allowed to come in. It's okay. All right. We track numbers, and if we were ever to go over 50, which most of you making that choice to stay home, I don't think we'll ever go over 50. But if you can't get stuff electronically and you're just doing it, with the mailings that Barb sends out, or if you're having trouble hearing because the sound quality just isn't working for you and your TV or something like that, it's okay. We're wearing masks. We're keeping our distance. We're doing really well. We are much safer here than going to, I don't know, pick a store. Target, since I was mad at Target yesterday. We're much safer than Target. I can guarantee you we're much safer than Target. And so does that make sense? It's really difficult for me to try and tell you what to do. I don't want to. That's not a role I should be in anyway. But I do want you to know that you have freedom to make a choice. Okay? There. You have freedom. You have freedom to make a choice. All right. I've talked a lot longer than what I thought I would. And that's all we have. So God bless y'all. Real good. Have a great week. And we will talk to you later.